Chapter 5, Example 3. Many colleges and universities require applicants to submit scores on standardized tests, such as the SAT writing, math, and critical reading tests. The college your little sister wants to apply to says that while there is no minimum score required, the middle 50% of their students have combined SAT scores between 1530 and 1850. You'd feel confident if you knew her score was in the top 25%. But unfortunately, she took the ACT test, an alternative standardized test. The college doesn't report the mean and standard deviation for their applicants on either test, so we use the group of all test takers nationally. For college-bound seniors, the average combined SAT score is about 1,500, and standard deviation is about 250 points. For the same group, the ACT average is 20.8 with a standard deviation of 4.8. How high does her ACT need to be to make it into the top quarter of equivalent SAT scores? First thing we have to do is check and make sure we can use the normal model, which means we need to check the condition that it's a symmetric and unimodal distribution. We don't have the data, so we can't check that. However, the ACT is a standardized test, and those standardized tests are designed for the score distribution to follow a normal model. So even though it's not expressly said, we are going to assume that the ACT does follow a normal model. But we need to write that out. You always need to check conditions before you do any sort of analysis. So though it is not stated that the ACT follows a normal distribution, standardized tests are generally designed to do so. So we will assume the distribution of ACT scores is approximately normal. Now we're saying approximately normal because you can never be exactly normal. Normal is a model. You're never going to be exactly that. We're always going to be a little bit off. That's the point. It should be. But it should be a pretty good estimate. Okay, so finally we're saying it is okay to proceed. Now, 1530 to 1800 or 1850 is the middle. So we have this middle chunk, the middle 50, so the bottom quarter is on the left, the upper quarter is above. So the upper 25% has to be above that 1850. So really, 1530 is Q1, and the 1850 is Q3. So we're looking for the chunk above it. So the top 25% of scores have an SAT score above 1530. Okay. Very good. So, now we need to actually do the calculations. What we want to do is convert our SAT score into a standardized score. Standardized scores do not have units, so we get rid of SAT points. And we don't have to worry about ACT points. If 1850 is 3.2 standard deviations away, then we want to find the corresponding ACT score that is 3.2 standard deviations away. So start with SAT. Okay, so we have an SAT score of 1850, and the mean is 1500. We have a standard deviation of 250 points. And when we calculate that, we get 1.4. There's no units. Remember, standardized score, there's no units to it. So we want to find what ACT score gives you a z-score, or is 1.4 standard deviations away from the mean. So we don't know that score. That's the unknown. We're going to use x for that, just like we always have. We know the mean for the ACT is 20.8, and the standard deviation is 4.8. And this should still be 4.1 or 1.4 standard deviations away. Great. Now just do some pretty basic math. We want to get rid of that denominator, so we multiply. X minus 20.8 equals 1.4 times 4.8. And that comes out to be 6.72. Great. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so now we want to add that 20.8 to both sides. And finally, x equals 27.52. So to be in the top quarter of applicants in terms of ACT score, your sister would need to have an average score of at least 27.52. There's not really a unit that we know of for there, maybe points, but that's sufficient. And that is our answer.